What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, yesterday, it got kicked off with a bang, didn't it? Earlier in the morning, we found out that we now have a new Paper Mario to look forward to, and it's just a couple of months away, which surprised everyone. We'll talk about that. And then we saw full-on gameplay, like extended gameplay for Ghost of Tsushima, and I gotta say, looks pretty good. I'm very excited for that game now, especially after seeing that gameplay. Turns out gameplay can sell your game. It's an amazing thing, isn't it? As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below as we head towards 500,000 subscribers. And we're gonna start today with PGA Tour 2K21 because I talked about it before where they were teasing it and talking about how we were gonna find out more this week. And a lot of you guys were pretty excited in the comments section, so it's good to see that people still look forward to golf games and we're excited about, I guess, a bigger budget golf game. Well, we did find out when it is coming out and the platforms. They put this tweet out here that says, play against real-life PGA Tour pros on real-deal courses, swing with swag, and get your victory dance ready. PGA Tour 2K21 is coming August 21st, and it's coming to all platforms. That includes the Xbox, the PlayStation, Stadia, PC, and the Switch, for anyone wondering. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense on the Switch considering you have, obviously, your Joy-Con, and you can probably, I assume they'll do something similar to what we've had before with Tiger Woods on the Wii, which was awesome. Like, that was really, really fun, right? To actually swing the club with the remote. It worked pretty well, and people really liked it. So I'm hoping they do kind of do something there, but 2K just put this thing everywhere. And if you are a fan of golf games and you've been looking for one, well, we'll keep an eye on this. We still need to see reviews for it, but I think they have something here, and golf fans should certainly be excited to check it out in August. Also, Titanfall fans all over the place got some bad news yesterday as Vince Zampella sat down with IGN during an interview and mentioned that, unfortunately, no Titanfall game is currently in active development. Instead, they were going to have some Easter eggs and stuff at times in Apex Legends, kind of pointing towards Titanfall. But right now, nothing was really going on there in development, and he had a little more to say about his thoughts on just the overall Titanfall franchise. At some point, I would personally like to see some kind of Titanfall resurrection. We'll see if I can make that happen. And you know what? I'll give Vince this. I have confidence that he could probably get it done, especially after what we saw with Jedi Fallen Order, where there's no microtransactions, it's full single player, goes against everything that EA is trying to do right now. And he kept trying to tell us, no, there's no microtransaction in this. Yeah, it really is single player, and we didn't really believe him up until it came out. And then even after that, we were worried about those sneaking in there. And what do? They put out a big-time free update with New Game Plus and a ton of other things. So, unfortunately for now, Titanfall is kind of on the back burner, but I really don't think that means it's gone for good. We'll probably just have to wait a bit. However, think about what we just saw the other day with Unreal Engine 5, okay? And then come back to Titanfall 3, possibly on next-gen platforms. That could be pretty cool. Also, do you remember how we had that Pokemon Sleep thing that was shown off? And I haven't heard anything else since then, right? But Nintendo, of course, has been working with these quality of life projects that they occasionally talk about in interviews, and we'll even kind of mention them as we saw with that Pokemon Sleep thing with the Pokemon Company. Well, we saw a patent that went public yesterday. It was kind of an interesting thing to see. I don't think this is going to be something, but it does give you an idea as to where they're at least thinking and where their head is right now. You can see a few of the diagrams here. One of them is interesting because it seems to show either Mario or Luigi like in bed waking up fully clothed and all of that. It's strange, right? A full suspenders, hat, and all of that. But they're waking up, and it seems to be reading that they had a good sleep and should be energized and all this. And then they show a device that, according to the patent, is a base that a user would plug a mobile device into, which would let it charge and also exchange information, and that would be things like respiration and pulse. Also, your body movement, I guess, during sleep. Interesting. I don't think this will be something, but remember, they've been playing around with these quality of life projects, and the idea of your Switch possibly docking into something next to your bed and then being able to keep track of you while you sleep for something like a bigger Wii, like kind of like how Wii Fit was, or we have Ring Fit now, but something even beyond that is interesting to think about. It also says it has speakers, camera, and a projector. That seems like a lot. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're gonna start right away with Paper Mario, the Origami King. And I gotta say, it looks good. Like, the trailer, of course, went up after Newswave an hour later. I know, Nintendo, sure, why not? But they did put this out. I was excited because seeing a brand new Paper Mario game that looks like it does go back to, we would say, the roots of the overall franchise, right? There are some things that are a bit different there from Color Splash, which we'll talk a little bit about, but it is coming out. Get ready for this. July 17th. It is 2 months away, and we just heard about it yesterday. That is crazy. I like that because a lot of times we'll hear about a game and then it doesn't come out for years. Nintendo does this themselves. I'm still waiting for Metroid Prime 4. Maybe next year, but it's great. Like, I actually like this. It's interesting because there's also the other side of the coin saying, well, I'd like to be able to plan it out and save, especially since July 17th is the same day as Ghost of Tsushima. So, like, are you picking up both? Are you choosing? I'm gonna pick up both, but like, that's kind of the thing that pops up. It's like, well, if I knew it was coming out July 17th, like at the beginning of this year, maybe I would have saved or planned out a bit more. But there's a lot of stuff to go over here. So first of all, visually, the game looks great. It looks very clean, doesn't it? It really, really does. Now you, of course, have the distinction between the different models that were folded up, as that appears to be a serious threat in the world of Paper Mario. But you have kind of this almost 3D, faux 3D look of the folded up models. And then you also have, of course, just flat Paper Mario. And there is a contrast there between those. And I like the visuals a lot from what they showed here. People have been asking about the gameplay and how this would go down. Well, there were some snippets of gameplay that appeared to be in the Japanese trailer. GameXplain cut out 20 seconds of it and posted it. And it looks different. It's definitely a strange battle system from what I can tell, but it looks like there are almost rings in front of you going around you, and you rotate them to line up different enemies, which could probably give us some pretty neat puzzles. And it's almost like a turn-based RPG puzzle action type game. It's very interesting to see this. And I guess that because you are turning the wheels, I guess that gives a different take on turn-based combat, but I like it. It's different. And if you notice in the gameplay trailer, they did show the crowd. So like, I guess the crowd is back as well. That could also just be part of the setting that they just happen to be battling in there. But let's say that crowd gets crazy and they start affecting the fight and all this. That could be really neat. There was also the look that partners appear to be back, as they showed a folded up Bowser that appears to be following you around, Bob-omb, and then several others. This looks like the Paper Mario that I'm a bit more excited for over something like Color Splash. I know there are some people that like Color Splash, but for the most part, if you look at things like the like to dislike ratio on that trailer versus the like to dislike ratio on the newest Paper Mario game, a little different there, right? So the other big question now is the character progression. Will you get experience, level up, even if it's a basic setup like we've had before in Paper Mario, as long as I think there's some pretty good progression and an actual reason to not run away and avoid, right, these random battles, like a reason to go in and get stronger or level up and all of that, then I think they have something here. So I'm excited. It looks good. Day one, absolutely. And I like the box art too, by the way. It's kind of neat. It shows like them kind of folding the box art down a bit, like the actual cover. And then you see all of the characters at the top there getting after Mario. So a lot of creativity all the way around this game, even down to the box art. So look for that July 17th. Exciting stuff. Next up, let's talk about Ghost of Tsushima, because wow, okay, this trailer played. A gameplay trailer? Just straight up gameplay, I guess. I mean, some of it was kind of a trailer because they divided it up and they had some cinematic parts to it, but they just walked us through the game. And that's all I want most of the time when they want to talk about a game. Why am I going to buy it? Show me the game. Instead, they'll show you a cinematic trailer that doesn't really reflect the game itself and what you're going to be doing, and you're like, I guess, okay. But Ghost of Tsushima has the opposite. They're not telling us as much about the story. We're kind of looking for clues ourselves. They're alluding to some things with the main character that we're playing as, but for the most part, they're selling us with this game with gameplay. Like, great, because they showed a ton of it, just about 18 minutes, and I have to say, what I'm getting from this game, I'm getting Way of the Samurai mixed with Tenchu, mixed with Witcher, a little bit of Assassin's Creed in there. I heard Breath of the Wild, but I think that's just from the very large open world type setting. And because the character appears to feel heavier, I'm gonna say like a Witcher series, because like I don't see the character jumping off a cliff with like a hang glider. I don't see them scaling walls like Link was. So I'm less towards Breath of the Wild and more towards like Witcher 3. Now they showed the differences in combat between if you're a samurai or as they say, a ghost, and it looks very, very different. See, the idea here is you're gonna play through this game and you're pretty much gonna decide which playstyle you want. Now, the samurai is just straight up, walk right up, challenge them and take them out, like just kicking the door in. Whereas the ghost is a bit more nuanced, I guess, where you're trying to use, as they even say, fear kind of to intimidate, sneak around, and basically tenchu your way through a base camp. And it looked pretty cool. They did show that you can scare and put fear, like, oh, the ghost is here, and yeah, he's just wiping everyone out. And it seems like your reputation will kind of spread throughout the land that you don't want to mess around with the ghost. And if you see them, then you're in trouble. Kind of like how Batman would basically do that, right? Where he uses fear as one of his weapons. And I thought that was really cool. Now, visually, it looks impressive, obviously, and once again, we gotta find out a bit more about how the character progression will happen, much like I was talking about with Paper Mario, but they showed us a few clues, such as your samurai being on the right during the pause menu, and you have, I guess, a little bar that will fill up going vertical to change your rank. That looked pretty cool, and overall, I like the exploration because it seems like they're trying to help you without blatantly having an arrow or a path on the ground. Instead, you'll use wind to kind of point you in the right direction without actually placing a waypoint on a map. And I actually like that. I think that's great because it will probably point you in the right direction without telling you exactly where, which will cause you to hopefully explore a world that has a lot of stuff going on. I'm really hoping it's not just like this big barren world with like a couple of points of interest. So we'll see. But once again, July 17th. July 17th just became a big, big mark on the calendar. That's going to be an awesome day. Going between those two is going to be interesting. But I think I might start with Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know, maybe I'll start with Paper Mario. It's gonna be tough. Either way, picking both up, excited across the board here for Paper Mario and Ghost of Tsushima. Next up, we have new Super Nintendo and Nintendo games for the Nintendo Online service. They're okay. They're not like this big hype moment or anything online. People kind of looked at the announcement and said, all right, those are definitely Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. I will give them that. Here's the tweet. It says, 4 more titles will be added to the NES and SNES Nintendo Switch Online Collection on May 20th, bringing the total to over 80 classic games. I will say, 80 games on there, that's a pretty good value. Super NES, Nintendo Switch Online will have Operation Logic Bomb, Panel de Pon, Wild Guns, which we already have Wild Guns Reloaded, but there's the original Wild Guns there on the Super Nintendo. And then on NES, we'll have Rygar, which is actually a really, really good game. So like between these, I am more familiar with Rygar and Wild Guns, but I'm interested in Panel de Pon because I saw some people talking about that online. Let me know if that's a game you know of, and you can let me know down below how that plays. But it wasn't a big announcement. In fact, these are like some random games to throw on there, isn't it? I mean, sure, Rygar, that is a game that I think more people played than I thought originally on the NES, because that is something that people would bring up to me. Well, when we had this, we worked at the store with retro games and we had one there, someone would always pick it up and buy it. It also wasn't super expensive back then, but still, it was something that people seem to remember quite fondly. But like the others, like Panel de Pon, that seems to be a smaller following on that one. But Wild Guns worth checking out as well. Nothing huge though, and that's, I think, what a lot of people are waiting for, is like a big moment. Unfortunately though, I think if Chrono Trigger ever comes to the Switch, it's not going on that online service. Square is going to look to sell that big time, I'm sure, on the eShop. That's kind of a problem Nintendo's running into now. Anything that's not first party that would make a big impact, I mean, it's probably not going to show up because third parties want to sell it separately. So it's definitely up to Nintendo to bring some of the big time first party games. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Ubisoft, because they appear to be setting themselves up for a pretty big, I'm going to say 7 to 8 months from here on, okay? Especially during the holiday season. It looks like they're going to be packing roughly 3 months, and we're going to get a release from them almost back to back to back. It's going to be interesting because it looks like they're probably going to have Watch Dogs right next to Assassin's Creed. I'm curious how that one's going to go down, but let's talk about how all of this unfolded and how we found out about this. Daniel Med actually tweeted out saying 3 of the AAA games, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla, will release in the October to December quarter. 2 of the AAA titles will release in the January 2021 to March 2021 quarter. More info on these sales and others at Ubisoft Forward in July. So yes, in July we will find out quite a bit of information. And of course we have Rainbow Six Quarantine, Watch Dogs Legion, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Gods and Monsters, which I am still very interested in Gods and Monsters, probably because we don't really know much about it. That might be why, whereas the others, I understand what we're going for here, but that's the big one for me is Gods and Monsters, and we'll see how all that goes. But there's also one other big AAA game that has not been announced. And I kind of thought, okay, maybe Mario and Rabbids 2, but I don't know if they, I don't know, maybe, but that would be platform specific, whereas a lot of these other ones, of course, are multi-plat that they're going to look to sell quite a few copies of. Maybe they could do Prince of Persia. I don't know. It'll probably just be Far Cry. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But the other 2 games appear to be launching at the beginning of next year. So there's going to be a string of like 6 or 7 months where we just have 5 big games from Ubisoft launching. And we'll see how all that goes down. I'm very curious to see if, because the games are too close, if that ends up kind of hurting Ubisoft's bottom line, because these games tend to go on sale pretty quickly afterwards. But we'll see. Hopefully some of these Ubisoft games don't turn out to look too similar with the quote-unquote Ubisoft formula. Then we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Manon saying, Nintendo just announced a new Paper Mario. I swear they were just waiting for Newswave to go up. They were, but I was ready for them. Because the other day, I decoded their message with the wallpaper stuff, where I figured out that yes, they were indeed announcing a brand new Paper Mario. I thought a lot of people figured out, but hey, I mean, you know, you got to crack the code sometimes and call them out for a new Paper Mario. So yes, Nintendo, I spoiled the announcement before you could even do a spoil Newswave yesterday. So, you know, follow me on Twitter. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today. Whether it is Paper Mario or Ghost of Tsushima, let me know what you think about those. Got a big surprise in the morning with Paper Mario, and then an awesome look at Ghost of Tsushima later on that day. Let me know if you're picking up both or if you're choosing between either one. Definitely let me know, guys, down below. And what about those Super Nintendo and Nintendo games? Is there any big game you'd want to see come to the online service that would get you really, really excited? Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.